Besides reading and writing, another super common operation is looping through Excel. In Automa, you can loop through Excel using the Loop Through Excel worksheet content. This command supports these looping modes: rows, columns, range, and used range. When looping through rows or columns, the content of each row or column is retrieved and processed sequentially, and each retrieval is a one-dimensional list. When looping through range or used range, the content of each row within the range is retrieved and processed sequentially, and each retrieval is also a one-dimensional list. The prices in the iPhone 17 series price table we've been using earlier were actually pulled by querying a specific page. Now, let's create this price table ourselves. First, read the model and size from the table one by one, fill them into the corresponding input fields respectively, then write the queried price back to column C of the table. You can loop through rows or ranges, and here we'll go with looping through rows. The first row is the header, so we need to set start row to the second row and end row to the last row. Automa supports using -1 to represent the last row. Set the content of each read row to current row data and the current row number to current row index. First, use print to output these two variables in the loop. The number before is the current row number, and the list after is the current loop item. So how do we get the model in size? The model is the first item in this list, and the size is the second. We can create two new variables to store them, assign the value from column A in current row data to current model, and the value from column B to current size. Next, we need to fill these two values into the corresponding input fields respectively, then read the price shown below. First, use getSpecifiedWebPage to pull up the current page and drag it to the first line. Then, on the page, capture the needed elements. Name the model input field Playground Query Model. Name the size input field Playground Query Size. And finally, capture the element that shows the price. And name it Playground Query Price. To fill the input fields on the web page, use Fill Text field. The content to input is the dynamic model. For faster input, set input mode to clipboard input. Copy this command and set up the size input the same way. Finally, use getElementDetails to get the displayed price text. And name the retrieved text current price text. This time, just print the price text we read. To make it easier to watch, we'll also keep the Excel file open on the screen. Click Run. And you'll see the web page on the left filling in the model and size from the table one after another. Okay, run completed. But you probably noticed the printed content has a lot of irrelevant characters, while what we want is just the plain number inside. Therefore, before writing to the Excel workbook, we need to perform further processing. Use extract from text to extract specific content from the text. It defaults to extracting number and names the result current price. Write directly using Write to Excel worksheet, with the row number being the current row number, current row index obtained in the loop, the column name specified as column C, and the content written being the extracted current price. At this point, the whole requirement flow is done. Click Run. And this time, it'll not only fill them in one after another, but also write the queried prices one by one into column C of the intermediate Excel workbook. In Excel automation operations, looping through Excel is a super important part. If you still haven't figured out how this loop works by now, follow me as I break down the whole loop process. The first iteration reads the data in the second row. Current row data gets assigned the list from row 2, and current row index gets assigned 2. Current model is the first item in the list iPhone 17, and current size is the second item 256 GB. Fill these two variables into the input fields on the web page one after another, read the displayed price and extract 799. Then write this number back to cell C2 in the sheet and move on to the second iteration. The second iteration reads the data in the third row. Current row data gets assigned the list from row 3, and current row index gets assigned 3. Current model is still iPhone 17, and current size becomes 512 GB. Similarly, fill them into the input fields one after another, read the price and extract 999, then write back to cell C3, and so on, until the last row of data is processed. That's the entire process of this loop.